Howdy, friends and neighbors. Welcome back to Black Bear News. Please remember to like the video. Please remember to make sure that you are still subscribed. You can support the channel through PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, and Super Chat. Hello, William S. Moy is here. Raza Remen is here with a question. Hi, Kevin. How did you choose the title Black Bear News? Random. I thought at one time, and I may actually still think this, that I was going to start a political party, and I wanted it to be called the Black Bear Party because I thought it sounded really ferocious. I wanted to be like an ultra radical party, and I just thought Black Bear Party, or the Black Bear. If there was like a Black Bear political party, that would sound like a little scary. So that's how. It's kind of random. I also am from California, where the bear is a symbol of California, even though that's a brown bear. But I like the bear symbology. That's why. So welcome. Come on in. Basil Peterson, namaste. Welcome, guys. I am back as promised. I don't know for how long. This may not be the long stream. Black Bear Lives Matter. All lives matter. That was wrong answer. I'm kidding. That was a joke. Well, and that's, all lives do matter, and that's why Black Lives Matter. That's why Black Bear Lives Matter. Echoes of not. Hey, Doomers. Howdy Doomers. Like that one? No? Come on. I thought that was pretty good. Well, I'll you know what I'll do? I'll put that in my pocket and I'll say it again later. All right, so let's look at this article from Wednesday, March 11th. This is a whole week ago when things were very, very different. More than a week ago. Things have changed dramatically in 1 week. This is titled Coronavirus Will Bankrupt More People Than It Kills. And that's the real global emergency. And I would concur that will most likely be the result of this, is that the economic fallout is going to be worse than the health fallout. Coronavirus's economic danger is exponentially greater than its health risks to the public. If the virus does directly affect your life, it is most likely to be through stopping you going to work, forcing your employer to make you redundant, or bankrupting your business. And that is already happening. The trillions of dollars wiped from financial markets this week will be just the beginning. If our governments do not step in. And if President Trump continues to stumble in his handling of the situation, it may well affect his chances of re-election. Joe Biden in particular has identified COVID-19 as a weakness for Trump. Oh, Joe Biden, really? The guy who nobody can find right now? The guy who's trying to figure out how to do a live stream in the middle of a crisis, while Bernie Sanders has done multiple live streams, is speaking to the nation on a daily basis like a president would, who has bigger and better plans than any of the Republicans and Democrats right now taking up all the oxygen in the room. You mean that Bernie Sanders? He promised steady, reassuring leadership during America's hour of need, although nobody can find him. Where is this reassuring leadership? What's really going on? Worldwide, COVID-19 has killed. Well, this is a while ago. This is again a whole week ago. 4,389 with 31 U.S. deaths. It will economically cripple millions, especially since the epidemic has formed a perfect storm with stock market crashes, an oil war between Russia and Saudi Arabia, and the spilling over of an actual war in Syria into another potential migrant crisis. We may look back on coronavirus at the moment when the threads that hold the global economy together came unstuck, and startups and growing businesses like mine can end up paying the price. Just as important as fighting the virus, if not more important, is vaccinating our economies against the incoming pandemic of panic. Human suffering can come in the form of illness and death, but it can also be experienced as not being able to pay your bills or losing your home. Small businesses in particular are struggling as supply chains dry up, leaving them without products or essential materials. Factory closures in China have led to a record low in the country's purchasing managers index, which measures manufacturing output. China is the world's largest exporter and is responsible for a third of global manufacturing, so China's problem is everyone's problem, even in the midst of a trade war between the White House and Beijing. All this makes it even more worrying that governments continue to seek this as a health crisis, not an economic one. I think we're already past that. It is time the economists took over from the doctors before the real pandemic spreads. It is difficult to imagine Italy not entering a recession. The world's 9th largest economy is now on lockdown. It is also difficult to imagine failing to affect Europe and its largest trading partner, the United States. And it is impossible to see how any of this will not add up to a global downturn unless governments step in faster and harder than they did 12 years ago during the last financial crisis. The stakes are higher this time because there seems to be a coordinated effort to economically hurt many Western countries and warn them away from aggressive trade policies that Trump has so enthusiastically adopted. Although China bore the brunt of the virus's economic and human costs, well, not anymore. Many in Beijing will see a silver lining in the weakening in the U.S. economy and a distraction from Trump's trade wars that appear to be escalating with no end in sight. Almost perfectly synchronized with the coronavirus, a Russian-Saudi oil war has erupted. In the short term, both Moscow and Riyadh can afford the 30% overnight drop in the oil price, but America's shale gas business cannot. The more expensive process of fracking means that much of the U.S. oil sector will simply not exist if oil prices stay at historic lows, leading to shutdowns, job losses, and perhaps even state-level recessions. Yes, President Trump has pushed through overdue payroll tax cuts and help for hourly workers, measures that will help both employers and employees survive. In the UK, Chancellor Rishi Sunak today unveiled a coronavirus budget, but everyone needs to think bigger if they want to properly deal with how this new factor changes the status quo. This is about much more than coronavirus, oil prices, or even global economy. This is about the balance of power between East and West. The epicenter of this has been, for the last 10 years, Syria. After a decade of conflict on the ground, the face-off seems to have now escalated from proxy war to economic conflict. Emerging superpowers of Russia and China witnessed what many saw as American irrelevance in Syria, and they are now trying to cement their vision of a truly multipolar world rather than allowing U.S. ally Saudi Arabia to lead the oil markets through the OPEC cartel. Russia and China want to reshape global markets and power balances to their advantage. To survive these shifts, the U.S., UK, and others will need to protect the future of their businesses, large and small, and look for opportunities to benefit from the new economic world order, not deny it. Ignoring these changes will be even more damaging than any flu pandemic. So, yes, and yes, ding, ding, and ding, of course. I'm going to say hello. George H., hello. Prudhomme, hello. Prudhomme says, I agree. The cost of shutting down the economy will be huge. Why did Western powers wait until after the collapse of the oil price to take steps against disease spreading since December? I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Magical Thinking Barbie, hello, how you doing? Witty Moniker, Aaron Murr, Rosa Remen, Basil Peterson, I said hello. Basil Peterson, after Tulsi's announcement, I'm convinced there's no breaking the duopoly of the business party. Our only chance is decentralized small communities. Yes, I am saying I am an anarchist. The dude says, Hail Santana. Which is like am I using the word correctly? An anagram of like Satan? It's almost like Satan, isn't it? Great. Osama, hello. Jay Ackert. Indeed, supply chain issues, shortages may somehow affect agriculture. Mix in a little spiked global warming, and that might help out too. Anarchy is the shortest distance between 2 points. Rosa Remen says zombies trying to get into Kevin's place. Are you talking about you? You zombies? Come on in. Karen Daly says just had a 4.5 earthquake here in Nevada. Wow. Utah just had an earthquake, and now Nevada. Wow, that's crazy. What is going on? Is this have anything to do with the Yellowstone caldera finally ripping apart and blowing hot ash and magma all over the U.S., the western United States? Who knows? CB Unglesby says third party. Indeed, third party. I think everybody's ready, and I think everybody's done with the choice between the rapists and the obvious rapists and the rapists who smile and talk pretty and dress nice. Proudhon says, while the U.S. has been shipping test kits out of Russia, Italy, where a small company makes them. China has been shipping medical equipment to Italy, Venezuela, and elsewhere. Well, good for them. Cindy Seeley, Harley Canine. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. Harley, lately it's been, the numbers of people watching have been kind of strangely low. And I think it's because people are not getting their notifications or getting them very, very late. Zombie Doomers. Proudhon says Yellowstone is too far away. Hey, that's a big caldera, bro. We have come a long way since last week. Karen Daly says we have a bunch of faults in northern Nevada. Okay. I'm just trying to be extra. Come on in, like the video, all that kind of good stuff. Moving on to, this might be, maybe informative or maybe just funny. How to be a climate activist during the coronavirus pandemic. Well, we're already doing much more for the climate, self-quarantining, than any protest could ever do. The problem is that nobody understands that what we're doing is monumental, is monumentally helpful. Nobody understands that. This is the biggest climate action ever taken. And nobody even knows that it's climate action. They think it has to do with coronavirus. The fight against climate change isn't going away, it's going online. April was supposed to be a huge month for climate action. The plan was to have a month of global mobilization with thousands of protests and even events planned by almost 1 million different organizers working together. Yeah, well, April, of course. Activists had hoped to build on the success of last September's worldwide climate strikes, which saw 8 million people take to the streets to demand action. And with the 50th anniversary of Earth Day next month, 50th, wow. I didn't realize it was that old. Campaigners predicted millions of people would again be on the streets in countries across the globe trying to drive home the urgency of the climate crisis. Then came coronavirus. On Tuesday, Earth Day Network, the global organizer of Earth Day, called for the first digital Earth Day. I dig it. I dig it all. Get it? Digital? Dig it all? Anyways. In response to the escalating threat of COVID-19, amid the recent outbreak, we encourage people to rise up, but to do so safely and responsibly in many cases. That means using our voices to drive action online rather than in person, said Kathleen Rogers, president of Earth Day Network, in an online statement. Make sure noted that it is an online statement. It's not just Earth Day, of course. U.S. organizers such as the Youth Climate Strike Coalition and Stop the Money Pipeline, a coalition of 91 organizations dedicated to ending the financing of industries contributing to the climate crisis, have canceled physical mass mobilizations and public rallies in the U.S. How to get governments around the world to just not prop up these industries, which are right now failing as we speak. These beautiful, wonderful, as Trump would put it, fantastic industries that are falling apart as we speak. Can we just not prop them up? Can we just let them go gently into that sweet night, or however that goes? And Greta Thunberg, a 17-year-old Swedish climate activist, has taken her weekly Friday school strike online. Last Friday, that she tweeted a picture of herself with her iconic sign at home with the caption, "School Strike Week 82. In a crisis, we change our behavior and adapt to new circumstances for the greater good of society." Mandates for social distancing and self-isolation are simply not compatible with large-scale mass gatherings. This creates challenges for climate activists at an absolutely crucial time for the climate crisis. The COP26 International Climate Conference in Glasgow, Scotland, is just 7 months away, and the stakes are high. The UN has called 2020 the last best chance for addressing climate change, or maybe the best year ever. And with countries set to make new pledges at the annual conference to meet their climate targets, activists are looking to keep up the pressure. There were really high hopes that we were going to see far-reaching ambition in Glasgow at the UN climate talks, said Kim Bryan, Associate Director for Traditional Communications for 350.org. But also this year we are beginning to see big commitments of divestment from big players. And we know that was in part caused by what happened last year with the youth strikes and Extinction Rebellion movement. Both lowercase. Extinction Rebellion lowercase. While governments must turn their attention to the pandemic, that doesn't mean that the climate crisis will cease to matter. The question is, how is climate activism still possible during a pandemic? The underlying momentum for climate action hasn't gone away, campaigners say. Many climate activists see this moment as a way to educate more people about the climate crisis through targeted online campaigns, distributing educational material and encouraging virtual training and webinars. They also point out that this public health crisis should be a further push for people to act quickly and urgently on climate crisis, because large-scale social and economic disruptions are likely to be increasingly frequent as the consequences of the climate crisis become more severe. The phenomenal rise in climate awareness over the past year and a half among the general public is often attributed to youth, like Fridays for Future movement started by Thunberg, and in the U.S. Sunrise Movement and the Youth Climate Coalition 0 Hour, which have brought issues like climate equity to the forefront of the political debate through protests, sit-ins, and mass action. But just because people are not physically striking doesn't mean that activism will die down. Climate groups are pivoting away to an array of virtual actions and finding creative ways to keep the climate momentum growing. We have the opportunity now to create a regenerative system that takes care of all of us. That's a quote from Extinction Rebellion. Some digital events already exist. Earth Day Network, along with Climate Initiative, Exponential Roadmap, and the social network We Don't Have Time is hosting the 3rd annual We Don't Have Time online climate conference during Earth Day week, April 20 through 25, with more than 20 hours of live talks and events. Many other groups are now following this line and shifting their activism online. Okay, we get it. Everything's online, guys. Come on. But I think people should be a little more vocal, and I've become somewhat cynical, or maybe just not very enthusiastic about letting people, talking about climate change on social media other than YouTube, because people don't care, and they're just filled with lies in their heads, and it's a difficult subject. But maybe I'll just try and, try it one more time, bash people over the head with climate information, only to have them go, but I thought that the climate was always changing. But we'll try it again. Now is a good time to let people understand, or help them to understand that what we're doing right now is actually a beautiful thing for the planet. Maybe not so nice for humans, but pretty good for the planet. Raza Remen says, people have been social distancing from me for years. Sorry to hear that, Raza. Or maybe happy for you. I don't know which one. Basil Peterson, I've just been spending more time talking to my chickens and spending time outside. Harley Canine, global industrial activity might come back with a vengeance to make up for lost time. Got to get people their stuff. People want their stuff, damn it. Yeah, that's the most likely scenario. But if we could only just educate just a few people to make them understand this is actually, we should be transitioning to something more close to this lifestyle, on the regular. Basil Peterson says social distancing is perfect for a police state. Sure. Osama, and still the plastic accumulates. Indeed. All that bottled water being bought. All the stuff from the grocery store. The packaging. It's beautiful. The beautiful plastic. The wonderful plastic. Harley Canine, beautiful, wonderful, amazing, super great industries, best in the country, maybe the best in the world, better than ever before. They're going to be big. Bigger. Witty Moniker says, speaking of police, they've been patrolling up and down these back roads here, feeling super creepy. Where are you? I've been hearing people talking about that too, saying that they've been, getting pulled over by the police or harassed by the police, or there's a big police presence. I don't know. I haven't in LA. It's been kind of the opposite. Like they are real like low key, and everybody's just driving around like lunatics. Because apparently, the police aren't really pulling people over for traffic violations right now. Gene says here the police in the village walk up to people who are milling about and ask them why aren't they home. Well, there you go. Quarantine orders. Prud'homme, we have never been at war with East Asia. We've always been at war with Oceania. Raza, you're full of them tonight. You got 1,000,000 of them. Let's see. People are dealing toilet paper. The police are on it. Oh yeah. You got to watch out for those the toilet paper syndicates. The newest crime rings of the city. And we're taking them down. Harley Canine says, I'm highly suspicious that I contracted the virus today at work. I work in a hospital and was screening, transporting patients today. Feel weird, probably just nerves. We'll see, I guess. You know what's weird, Harley? Ever since this started, I've been getting twinges of like sickness like almost every day. I think it's just stress, and for on many days I don't sleep well. But what I've been doing whenever I get that twinge of something, I drink a lot of water and I take a shitload of vitamin C. Like, maybe 2,000, 4,000 milligrams of vitamin C. I take a shit ton of vitamin C and I go to sleep, and that generally like clears everything up. You got to do it soon though before you actually get sick. Anyways, that's been working for me. So this past week or two, I keep getting these twinges and I start freaking out. I'm like, oh shit, what the hell is that? And then I just drink a lot of water, take a bunch of vitamin C, and I'm all right and proper again. I actually thought I got it yesterday because I went out, I did some shopping, and I had my scarf up. I can't actually, for some reason I can't do it. Yeah. Had my scarf up like this, at the store. Like it was going to save me. And, yeah, so I went out and I was like going shopping, and I was doing like this, and I came home and I suddenly, like, my sinuses were kind of inflamed and my throat felt funny, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Anyways, yeah. I think it's probably sympathetic twinges. But, I mean, I took it seriously. I didn't let it develop into something else. Because that would be horrible. I don't want to get any kind of sick right now. Even if it's not coronavirus, I don't want to get a flu, cold, anything. Nothing. That's right. Okay. I'm not an average Joe, bro. I'm smarter than the average bear. So there you go. I'm not the most eloquent person in the world, but I do my best. I do not drink a lot of water and take a Exactly. Exactly. All right, so let's see. Moving on to, well, we talked about this the other night. Suddenly, they're going to find money to put homeless people in hotel rooms and find housing for homeless people. All of a sudden, the great state of California, the supermajority Democrat state of California, which can't seem to solve the housing crisis, which is as ineffective of a government as the United States government, right? The federal government. California has a supermajority Democrat. You'd think with a supermajority Democrat government, right? These bleeding hearts, these lefty liberals that just want to help people. You think that California would be just this utopia of social programs and high wages and low pollution and off-grid living. You just think that California would be a paradise. But no, we're pretty much as fucked up as the rest of the country. You know, uh, it's just way more expensive to live here, and for whatever reason, it's cool to live here or something like that. But yeah, California can't figure out how to house the homeless, but we're so liberal and we're so ahead of the curve. We're such a truckload of bleeding hearts. Anyway, so yeah, all of a sudden we found the money and the will and the dollars to house the homeless. Like that. Again, proving that the answer to, this emergency situation is socialism. But if we just want to extend that, on out into the answer for society's ills, and certainly not the billionaires, lining the billionaires' pocketbooks, but the answer to society's ills is socialism or helping the people on some basic level. Karen Daly says, I've been taking vitamin C and D. Good on you. So yeah, I mean, and they're trying to work this out even in the federal government. They're arguing about what they're going to give people, and they're putting out these ridiculous propositions on how to give people money. Meanwhile, nobody can find Joe Biden. Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders is holding, some kind of forum or press conference or rally or something every single day, live streaming his answers to the world, to the nation. And everybody's like, does anybody, the entire government is like, do you hear something? Does anybody hear? What was that? What was that? I mean, they're literally mainlining Bernie Sanders' proposals or the progressive agenda into their veins right now, and then acting like, wait, is he still running for president? Wait, hold on, isn't he a senator? Bernie proposed, whatever, the Defense Production Act, whatever it's called, the night before Donald Trump was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring back this Defense Production Act. That sounds like a great idea. I wonder who thought that up. I wonder who brought that up. Was it Joe Biden? No. Was it Elizabeth Warren? No. Was it Pete Buttigieg? No. Harley Canine, the only reason we have any money for socialism right now is because of capitalism. Really? How so? Explain. Reverend Walker, how you doing? Well, I mean, yeah, we're not full socialists. We haven't, we're not uh, taking over all industries and private, the government isn't taking over all industries. Although even Trump suggested that if some industries needed a bailout, that maybe they should be taken over by the government. Whoa, sounds like socialism to me. That sounds like some socialism right there. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was Trump said that. Indeed, Karen Daly, if Congress fails to act and help the people, the pitchforks are coming. Uh, and there's Democrats that are actually, Nancy Pelosi is trying to block um, some of these proposals, trying to block people from getting money. Nancy Pelosi, the warrior that's fighting Trump at every turn. Uh, she's just a sold out Democrat hack. So they're not going to vote on this until Sunday. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can get to this. So listen to this, guys. Senate Democrats are trying to block the government sending out stimulus checks. Chuck Schumer and fucking Nancy Pelosi. Schumer said on Friday that Congress should pass a massive expansion of unemployment benefits instead of simply doling out checks to individuals and families, regardless of whether they miss work because of health quarantines. So Chuck Schumer, that bleeding heart liberal Democrat, is trying to keep you from getting money, is trying to keep people from getting money. The Democrats are more fucked up than the Republicans right now. That's why they're like, is there anybody in the room that has any good ideas? And Bernie's like, I got a good idea. And they're like, no, not you, Bernie, not you. And Bernie's like, I got a good idea. And Trump and all the Republicans are going like, hey, how about we send people UBI? Hey, how about we delay mortgage payments and rent payments? Hey, how about if we push the tax day back 3 months? They've already done that, which is fucking great. That is beautiful. Osama, good job. I just added zeros in Sharpie to my $10 and $50 bills. That's a great idea. I got to get me some $10 and $50 bills first. Can that work? Can that work with ones? Can I just add a couple zeros to a $1 bill? Is that okay? Yeah, but Harley, for the time being, they can. You know how they give money to the banks? They just they go like this, ding, 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 and they just type it out on a keyboard. Here you go. Here's $2 trillion. It's just made up. It's monopoly money. You know how you send, how you send money to Israel to help them with, um, whatever it is, whatever as a defense uh, help or defense package. That's not taxpayer money. That's monopoly money. They just send them. They're like, oh, here's $5 billion, Israel, or Saudi Arabia, or whoever. It's just monopoly money, man. It's monopoly money. Well, we don't have any capitalism right now because, there's no capitalism going on. There's a little bit. There's a tiny bit, but the entire economy has shut down. There's no capitalism to inject any money into the system. They're going to have to make this up for right now and then figure it out later. They're going to have to do something in the immediate and then in a couple months they'll go, all right, so how, then what? Now what? But like for the meantime, people are starving, people don't have a job, people can't pay their rent, people can't pay their mortgage. Nobody's starving yet, but very soon people will have difficulty getting food if this continues for, another couple of weeks or a month or 2 months. I'm not talking about, when I say socialism, I mean democratic socialism. And I'm sorry that I have to qualify that, but socialist, socialist programs, but within a democratic framework. Bob Jones, Kevin asked a question. What is the name of the economic theory saying that we can print as much money? Modern monetary theory, I think it is. Saying we can print as much money as we like since the dollar is the global reserve currency. I mean, yeah. Well, Revan Walker has a good point. That argument of needing capitalism to promote progress, look where that got us, according to some. We may be gone by 2026. Yeah, I mean, capitalism hasn't been doing such a great job, right of late. But anyways, to get back to my point, the Democrats are looking like absolute chumps right now. And they're actually looking like the shithead Republican Party at the moment. They're looking like the right wingers. No, we can't possibly do that. We can't possibly give people money. Wow. That is amazing. Maybe I'll read a little more of this. Senator Debbie Stabenow, a Democrat from Michigan who participated in the initial round of talks with Senate Republican chairman on Friday morning, argued that direct payments will not be as effective as expanded unemployment benefits. Well, you have to have a job to get unemployment benefit. What about people with no money or no job or with a gig job? Or people that are not on somebody's payroll? Freelancers. What about them? So everybody's going to have to basically apply for unemployment. Is that what we're going to make people do right now? Go apply for unemployment? That's the Democrats, people. Dude, Denmark, Norway, all the Scandinavian countries are socialists, democratic socialists. They're prosperous as hell. France, Germany, the UK. They all have socialist programs. They have they're all capitalists, but I'm not talking about pure socialism. There's no such thing as pure socialism. I'm just, actually Venezuela was actually doing quite well before we, hit them with a big old, when we hit them with whatever it's called, Jesus Christ, I can't even think right now. We fucked them over financially, Venezuela. And then we tried to run a coup at them. But, Venezuela was actually doing well for its people for a little while. What the hell is the word I'm trying to look for? Please help me, somebody, anybody. Stop trash talking capitalism. Look, I'm saying, try not to be so polarized right now, Harley. Most of the countries I'm talking about all are capitalist countries, but they have social programs, right? So we're not talking about no capitalism. But we're talking about capitalism that's, much more restrained. No, there's not the libertarian style capitalism or free market capitalism. The whole world has capitalism. Russia has capitalism. China has capitalism. The entire world has capitalism. We all buy things and trade and produce things. Like the entire planet is a capitalist planet. There's no country that's not capitalist. No country is, ideologically pure, like a pure communist country or a pure socialist country. That's not even fucking Nazi Germany wasn't a pure socialist country. They were a capitalist country. They bought and sold things. Okay, well then we're saying the same thing. Socialist programs within a capitalist society. We're saying the same thing. We agree. No, he doesn't. Bernie does not want full on socialism. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. That's a lie. Have you ever listened to Bernie Sanders' speech? Are you just repeating something that somebody told you about Bernie Sanders? Anyways, everyone has capitalism. Every single country in the world has a capitalist system on some level. And what we have is not really capitalism. Again, yes, we don't actually have free markets. We have controlled markets. We have socialism for the rich. We have socialism for the bankers. We have socialism for the corporate state, but or for the corporations. Socialism for everybody but the people that need it. There you go. Prud'hon, IMF just refused medical aid money for Venezuela because of uncertainty about who is the legit government. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. The dude says, I think it's called a mixed economy. Anyways, Harley, we agree. We agree. I'm not trying to argue with you because we're actually saying the same thing. But I mean, there isn't, no country is purely socialist. Yeah, Bob Jones. Bernie is really a New Deal Democrat. He hasn't called for nationalizing of anything. Although he did call for nationalizing, what did he call for? The energy, like the energy grid, as part of the Green New Deal. I think that, but I don't think that was like something he was going to do right away. Brian Smith says capitalism needs a ceiling, socialism needs a floor. Extreme anything is probably going to fuck us somehow. Agreed. And actually, there are countries that are democratic socialist countries that are basically capitalist socialist countries that do very well. What is the country that has the highest happiness index? It's like Denmark or something. It's a socialist country, capitalist socialist country. All those Scandinavian, Northern European countries have like high, happiness indexes, and the people are very well taken care of. They have all kinds of social programs. They have like free college and free healthcare, and I was watching some documentary about, was it in Norway? I can't remember. Where they don't even really have prisons for the prisoners. They put the prisoners in this very like low security environment where they kind of live in like houses, and they're like halfway houses, and the prisoners just kind of live. They're free to live in this house, and they can go outside, and they can, it's very like low security, low lockup. They're not like treating them like monkeys in cages. And it's actually proven to be really effective at rehabilitating criminals. They're just very forward. They're like way farther down the evolutionary scale of how to treat people and how to run a country than we are. Robert Arahu, Raho, yes, U.S. fucks all of South America. Indeed. The United States has a special hate for, South American countries being self-governing and helping their own people. I don't know, for whatever reason, we feel like that's our domain, that's our DPRK. Well, I don't know what to call them. I don't even know if you would call them socialist. They're communist, totalitarian communism. I don't know what you would call them. They're probably the one country that's like outside of the capitalist system, maybe. That's probably the only example I could think of. Basil Peterson, all we want is socialism for the commons. Is that so difficult to comprehend? Indeed. Echoes of not, we have corporate profits and social losses. Boom, bang, ding, ding, ding. And that's exactly right. So, let's flip the script, right? Corporations can't fail. Corporations, aren't held to account. Corporations don't get in trouble. Corporations don't, sometimes they go bankrupt, but most of the time corporations get bailed out and they get, tax breaks, and they get, they offshore their money and loopholes, and, all kinds of, and, no interest loans all the time, all the time, all the time. And what is it? What's the quote? I think Jimmy Dore says this all the time: socialism for the rich, and rugged individualism for the poor. That's what we have. William Moy, have a good night. Enjoy. Peace be unto you. I'll see you tomorrow. Gene says, I agree, Kevin, about the prison system humanizing. Indeed, like the point of it is to actually rehabilitate and not, mentally scar and traumatize. Not to, socialize people into the prison system. You want to make people feel like they're humans and can be human again, after they've paid their debt or whatever. Exactly. Bob Jones, Bernie is what mainstream Dem was 40 years ago. Exactly. I mean, think about the things that FDR did. Think about, the things that effing Lyndon Johnson did. Lyndon Johnson was this, good old boy racist from Texas. And he, even passed like really radical social programs. Extremely radical social programs. So maybe not 40 years ago. I actually wouldn't say that Bernie is a mainstream Dem 40 years ago. I'd say more like 60 years ago. 40 years ago was, that was Bill Clinton era. When Bill Clinton came in and reversed everything that Dems were about and made them, the new Republican Party. Basil, enjoy. Echoes of not, sharpening my pitchfork, indeed. Reverend Walker asks, what's your take on Tulsi Gabbard and where Bernie goes from here? Well, I don't know about Tulsi. I'm not sure. I think she's in Congress and she's trying to deal with the situation. So she's, doing her job as a congresswoman and trying to help the American people. And I think Bernie is doing the same thing. Like, I think Bernie's just in the middle of like dealing with this situation. Bernie has not dropped out of the presidential race, and I think that's very smart. Because once he drops out, they'll ignore him full stop. Like, they won't listen to a thing he has to say. And if Biden continues to just fall off the face of the earth, I just wish that Bernie Sanders would call Biden out for real. To say, look, you're not presidential. Where are you? What are you doing? You're not helping. Look at us all taking care of this mess, and you're just wandering around trying to figure out how to do a live stream. Like, good point, Prudhomme. Yeah, on the wars. Yes, I you cannot overlook that stuff. But let's say LBJ actually didn't start the Vietnam War. It was actually Kennedy. He just ramped it up. All right, Harley, have a good one. Good debate. Take care of yourself, man. Get some sleep and vitamins, and I'll be back. I'll catch you on the next one. Alaric Harrison. Okay, I'm going to sign off with that. Uh, quit watching MSNBC. It rots your brain. I don't think that you could actually accuse Proudhon of watching MSNBC or believing that. Anyways, Karen Daly, where is Biden hiding right now? Nobody knows. He just doesn't know what to do. He's completely ineffectual. He's not leading. The country is in a crisis and Biden is just wandering around somewhere. Okay, well, let me get ready to tell people. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to tell people what they should be doing. Meanwhile, people are taking control of the situation, or trying to. This dude is so not presidential. Yes, Clinton destroyed the Dem Party with his pro-corporate New Democrat. The Blue Dogs. What's the other name for them? I don't know. Third Way or something like that. Whatever. Brian Smith, if the GOP does a UBI, it will have a sunset clause. Well, yes, but if they do a UBI, they will out-left the Democrats, and they're going to actually, Trump. That's how Trump will win easily another term. If he does UBI and actually helps people out in this time of crisis, while the Democrats say, no, we can't possibly do that. You want to see Biden lose in 3, 2, 1. That's it. All right, guys. Thanks for joining in the chat. I appreciate you. I've about run out of time. But I will see you tomorrow, and we will continue where we left off. Enjoy your evening. Thank you from Black Bear News, where everything is connected. Peace.